Thank you for listening. My name is Mike Strauss, aka Strauss21. I'm a mixed martial arts journalist. I currently contribute to bjpenn.com, Low Kick MMA, CagesidePress.com. You could find my work there as well as my YouTube channel at aka Strauss21. And of course, the Did You See That Shit Mixed Martial Arts podcast that you are listening to right now. Here is my latest interview. I hope you enjoy it. I want to welcome to the show for the first time, Mr. Alexander the Great Hernandez. What's going on, man?
Hey, not the most, just getting ready to go.
I hear you, man. You're 26 years old, 10-1. I mean, you really have taken the UFC by storm this last year, man. One thing that I wanted to talk to you about right away, the thing that stood out to me is your mental toughness, man. I mean, you are just so locked in. And it's admirable is what it is, man, because at such a young age, you are just so razor focused. And I wanted to ask you, man, is that something that you were born with, or is that something that you kind of developed?
You know, I think it took development. A lot of it's just finding what you're passionate about, and then when you find your passion and then that purpose, it's easy to derive focus towards it. So I think for me, for a long time, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I grew up just playing, simple sports. I played basketball for a long time, and I realized I was too short and I sucked, so I stopped doing that. And I got into wrestling, and then wrestling is what first inspired me to push beyond what I thought was conceivable for myself. And then that evolved into, the full mix of martial arts.
Very cool. So wrestling was the first kind of, we'll call it a martial art that you got into then?
Yeah, wrestling was my first love. It really is my first love-hate because, my dad introduced me to it being a smaller guy, and I was a hell of a late bloomer. And so for me, I needed weight classes in order to compete with these kids. And so, or rather to compete with my peers. And so wrestling was a chance for me to do that. And man, I don't think I've ever had butterflies in my life like I did those first matches my freshman year, my first wrestling tournament and my first wrestling duel. I mean, that was some of the most terrified I've ever been in my life. And I remember just being, frantically nervous every single week. Because every Thursday you got a dual match against another team, and every Saturday you got a tournament. I just remember being so freaking nervous every single week. And I hated it so much, but I started to love the outcomes. And then sophomore year, it was a little bit better. Than my junior year, I had a grip. And then senior year, I felt like I was running it. But I hated it. I hated the process, but I love the outcome. I think that's kind of a lot of what, even the road to becoming a champion is. You don't always have to love the process, but you have to be obsessed with that outcome. And so you're going to do anything to get to it.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I love what you said there. So you were so nervous before your old wrestling practices, even more so than for your UFC debut?
Oh, 100%, man.
Wow.
Yeah, the most terrified I've ever been in my life was probably that first wrestling tournament. And it was just because of the maturation that I have now. Now I see myself completely different than I saw myself as a boy. And I hadn't fulfilled the things I needed to fulfill. I tested myself outside of just the physical realm and the business world. And I think that's important for people developing to not get too locked into any single sphere. For me, always trying to do the most, I did go to that business world and juggled both. And that developed my mind in a huge way. I worked the numbers. I developed my speech. I got in front of people much older than me and had to convince them that I was a trustworthy person for them to invest their business in. And so building that self-assurance and growing my mind in such a way then opened the door to seeing a greater expansion of my physical capabilities and expanding my mind, expanding my perception of what I could achieve and what I'm capable of physically. And so by the time I got to the UFC, I was already different. I was a changed man. And that night at that debut, I didn't have a morsel of fear in me. I was 100% focused and just determined. Same thing in Canada. Same thing preparing for this fight. I don't feel fear in the back getting ready for it. I don't even feel nerves. I feel godsend, and I feel supreme focus.
It looks like that, man. You don't look nervous at all. You look like you've been there 1,000 times before, man. And you're definitely not cut from the same cloth as a lot of these fighters. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that with all due respect, because, like you said, man, you're articulate, you're bright. Not that a lot of fighters aren't, but I feel that you are just more so than the average fighter, man. Just you're truly a special dude. I'm sure you've heard that a bunch. But growing up, man, was Donald Cerrone, was he a guy that you admired growing up?
Yeah, absolutely. He's a household name and a legacy of the game. I got respect for all those fighters that kind of paved the way and certainly made statements for young guys coming up like me. Kind of set an example for us to seek inspiration and then to see other guys doing it. They paved the way for the sport, and now the sport's in a whole different place where, the ability to make extraordinary financial gains, is possible now where it really wasn't back then. And so we needed guys like him, like Condit, GSP coming up, Matt Serra and Hughes and Silva was one of those big breakthroughs. All these guys, Vitor Belfort, all the guys that came through. And now that I'm naming so many names, I feel like I gotta say Forrest Griffin, but I definitely got respect for him. But I don't dwell on it, man. And I don't, people keep bringing up this year like it's got some huge magnitude, and it doesn't. The only thing that matters to me, the biggest life-changing thing for me, it's not getting in the UFC. It's jumping off the ledge and quitting my job and putting 100% focus into this one purpose. This one dream. That's what's been the biggest change for me. The UFC, everything else, the fights, the venues, the promotions, all that shit. That's all subsidiary, man. The biggest thing for me is just my lifestyle change.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think about the shit I've already accomplished, or I don't think about the year that's passed. I don't think about any of that, and I don't think about the fighters around me. And I don't spend time in the media. I don't spend time watching too much tape. Because if I start doing that, I start overcrediting people. I start looking at Cowboy as if he's like this like surreal adversary that like can't be touched, and he's not. To me, he's just a normal fucking guy that could have been walking out of a saloon with some gloves on that's going to get the same licks that I'd give anybody standing across the octagon from me. I don't overcredit him, and I don't respect him in that octagon. It's my octagon. He's walking into my territory, and so I don't dwell on things like that. And I'll be damned, Again, I put 100% of my energy into this, put 100% of my focus, and this is all I do, literally all day long. I don't have kids. I don't have a wife. I don't like to play fucking video games. When I play outside, I play with a purpose. Everything I do is around this, and I don't do it, this is how I escape. This is how I juggle, and then I'll balance. If I'm getting too much time in the gym, well, then I'll go train outside. If it's too much outside, I'll train in the gym. That's how I balance, and that's how I keep myself sane. And I'll be damned if a guy who has to escape, who puts maybe 60% in this, 70% in this, and puts 20, 30 elsewhere, shooting guns, ride horse, do whatever the fuck else he does, which is great. But I'll be damned if that guy can hold a candle to my undivided attention. There's no way. There's absolutely no way.
I love it, man. I think that is what makes you so special, is that regardless of what you're doing, you're giving it your all. And I think, that's how it should be, man. I'm a father of 2, and I try to instill that very same thing into my kids. If you're going to do something, don't half-ass it. Be the best at it. One thing that kind of caught me off guard is you're currently ranked at 11 in the lightweight division, and Cerrone is ranked 13 in the welterweight division. After you get your hand raised, where do you think that this is going to put you in the division?
That's so subjective, it's hard to say. I would say certainly top 10, and that's really all I expect. I just expect to break the top 10. And again, all these things are such subjective matters that I'm not really fazed by them. I don't care. Darren Till beat Cerrone, and he fought the number 2 Wonder Boy, and then he fought a title fight. And I'm not saying that's what I expect or even what I care to do. It's just subjective, So who really gives a shit? Cerrone's the next in line. Take him out, and then whoever they got next after that, let's line them up. But I'm not worried about where I fall afterwards. I just expect to continue to climb.
For sure. Is there anybody that is on your hit list after Cerrone, or you want to save that for the call out?
No, I mean, I don't have call-outs, man, because I feel like call-outs are derived from a place of matchups, like, are a place of, like, doubt. If I'm calling somebody out, it's because I think I got a better chance against that person than the other people. Give me fucking anybody. I don't care. I'm not, oh, well, I need this guy because I'm not really too confident on the ground, and this guy's got really good jiu-jitsu, or, oh, this guy's a really good kickboxer, and I'm more of a wrestler. I'm better than all these people at every single facet. I'm obsessed about that. I mean, I can't tell you, like, how much of a pedantic freak I am in the gym about, like, making sure everything is always balanced all the time. It's kind of like I've always been like that. If you pinch my left arm, I expect a pinch on the right. It's just I need everything balanced always. And so call outs are for those that are doubtful of the competition. I'm not doubtful of anybody. Just fucking put a name in front of me as long as it's on the way upward.
Yeah, that's a very interesting way of looking at it, and I totally see where you're coming from, man. Makes a lot of sense. It does. It makes a lot of sense what you're saying there. Before I let you go, are you still training at Ohana Academy in Texas?
100%, brother. Ohana is my day one home gym. That's my family, and so I'm not going anywhere. Those boys are the ones that put me on their back, and I put them on mine now. And so I got my head coach there, Jason Yarrington. I got John O'Rourke, hand job as we like to call him. He's a pad guy, and a host of other really good coaches out there that are all great assistants. And we've got Jason Kilgore, who's my other cornerman, who that's my strength and movement coach. And so we've got a good set of guys that are all home based. That I like to stick to that. And I like that we're sequestered from everybody else. We're kind of in our own little island, it feels like. I want to keep it that way.
Yeah, and that's a good quality too, because in mixed martial arts, and today's mixed martial arts, you don't really see that loyalty when a guy makes it to the big show, but that's cool, man. That just adds to your character. And again, man, I hate to go back to this, but you're just a special dude, man. I want to give you a couple minutes here to shout out your coaches, sponsors, whatever you'd like, man. The floor is yours, Alexander.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, please please check out my gym, Ohana Academy. Ohana Academy Northeast is the new gym I just opened up. Again, Jason Yarrington, John O'Rourke, Jason Kilgore. I've got my wrestling coach out in California, Daryl Christian. Stratton Sport and Spine. That's my handyman, my physical handyman. Farm to Juice for all the juice products. Spectrum CBD and Sunrise out of Austin. And then Gaines Bakery for my meal prep. And please check out my vlogs. I got a lot of excellent guys working on those right now. Some of my close friends I grew up with that. Again, just trying to put the family on first. And so I got Andrew Martinez on that, and Ben Billup, who's a master director. And so check out those vlogs and give those boys some love.
Well, I can't wait. I appreciate your time, Alexander. And for everybody, don't miss it. It's going to be a great night of fights. UFC on ESPN +1. Alexander Hernandez will be fighting Donald Cerrone and the prelim headliners. So it's going to be a big spot, man.
Yeah, very excited, brother. Thank you for the time.
Anytime, brother. I appreciate it. Best of luck to you.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.